Welcome back to New Rockstars. This is the big question quarantine edition. It's your daily dose of distraction, giving you too much information about the one dirty thing we're still allowed to do, so long as it's, you know, fictional superheroes in our imaginations. How you doing over there, Philip?
I'm doing so well. I'm getting everything done. I've grown 3 inches since yesterday. Everything is going so well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Those of you at home know that we did our best last week to protect ourselves with, you know, gloves, plastic wrap, lots of personal space, which I prefer any given day. But we're now no longer allowed to leave our homes, so we're doing our best here to keep these episodes coming at you. Bear with us.
I know one thing, by the way, that has been on my mind very much about just being stuck at home, and that's what kind of action can we get? What are we talking about here? Especially if you're alone. All things are available to you, and no one can judge. Right now, you be you. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore.
Nothing.
I also then got to thinking, kind of how, remember last week you asked me about my nightmares? So I want to ask you about your nightmares. And that's sex stuff, because I know that your wet nightmares are something that's plagued you for a long time. I specifically want to know, okay, so they say if you have a partner who is being safe right now, in washing their whole body head to toe in the sink constantly, then you guys can engage in relations. That's what they're saying. The CDC said it, not me. But I'm wondering, what about our favorite heroes? Because a lot of them, I feel like, would just rip people in half. If they shoot lasers out of their eyes, then what else do they shoot lasers out of? So I want to know, Eric, is it possible? And who exactly can I'm very curious about my man Hulk, because no one can withstand that.
Well, the question of superheroes has been really the most important debate ever since our nerd father, Kevin Smith, brought it up in Mallrats. Remember that whole debate?
Do you think our fallopian tubes can handle the sperm? I guarantee he blows a load like a shotgun right through her back.
So, you know, here at New Rockstars, whether it's Palpatine or whether it's Hulk, we are honored to dig even deeper into this.
And our parents are disappointed, no matter what we do.
So disappointed and disgusted. Well, Philip, you know we've been rewatching the Infinity Saga films lately, and the most recent breakdown we've released on the channel is the Incredible Hulk, the Ed Norton one. And there's a scene where Bruce Banner and Betty Ross make out in a motel room, but Bruce gets a little too turned on. His heart rate monitor beeps like crazy, and then he has to pull out.
Yeah, or
yeah. Well, no, he's not in, but he has to pull away from this situation.
Because she's not like purple spandex. She doesn't expand to fit whatever size he needs.
To infinite proportions. Well, it's implied really from there forward in the MCU that Bruce cannot have any romantic interactions to that extent. Like, he's really the master of isolation and social distancing. And Black Widow does develop that calm down technique, you know, the whole palm stroke thing.
Or calm up.
I wouldn't call that sexual.
Well, you're doing it wrong.
According to Rule 34, there exists a Hulk palm stroke fetish, probably. We don't kink shame here. I'm sure some people find that sexy.
Send them in.
There's that whole
P.O. box below. So your palm stroke magma. Magma?
I don't know.
Manga.
Do not send us your magma, whatever you interpret that to be. Like, I can get into that, like the size comparison stuff. You know, Beauty and the Beast had that thing with Beast and her tiny, tiny little hand.
Yeah.
Oh.
Does he have that knot that dogs get at the end? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like the paw, but it has little claws that stick out of it?
No, that's not what I mean at all. I think it's a thing.
I'm
not a veterinarian, but I have performed surgery on cattle. But I think dogs, the end of it expands so that it can't be pulled out easily while in the middle of intercourse. And I'm just saying, Beast, both from X-Men and from Beauty and probably has the knot dick.
Let's move on. Really?
Did I get a little too close to home, Eric?
I'm just glad we're not sharing a space right now. Okay, the long-running subtext with Bruce Banner in these movies is that he's a verge. He's really the classic incel if you think about it. He can never have sex, and he probably holds some resentment towards the opposite sex about that.
Classic.
But here's the deal, man. Hulk actually does He f***s so much. But that's in the comics and possibly in the MCU. We'll get to that in a bit. I want to start with actually talking about a few superheroes who are not so lucky.
Oh.
Or lucky.
Poor Bucky.
No, you know that guy.
Oh, hell yeah. Come on, Sebastian Stan. I'm a Stan.
Yeah, that guy gets it.
Yeah.
He gets it. Let's start with Rogue. So by definition of her superpowers, Rogue is a rogue. She absorbs the life force, mutant abilities of everyone she makes skin contact with. She can't have romantic relationships like that.
But isn't it no glove, no love, maybe? So glove love?
You can have glove love, but even then that's just heavy petting. How do you do intercourse with gloves? I guess we should ask Mormons.
Wait, hold on, Eric. Do you think no glove, no loves means you can't have sex if you're not wearing gloves? A glove is a condom.
What?
It's a condom.
You said glove in terms of Rogue, so I'm picturing Rogue's famous gloves. And then,
She also has gloves, but she can have intercourse if someone is wearing a condom.
It has to be a full body size condom.
They just keep their pants on, they only unzip. That's what the hole's for in the boxers. And then,
There's gonna be skin.
I mean,
There's gotta... you can't control it.
I'm okay with losing a little bit of my life force to get with Rogue, by the way. Just saying.
I'm sure a couple people are. I mean, we saw in the X-Men movies, she kisses that dude, she nearly kills him. She kisses a not gay Iceman, and she breathes out cold air.
To be fair, we don't know that he's not gay. They're still like high school aged. He's really good at theater and singing. That's true, by the way, about the actor.
He's also a great Animorph.
Damn it.
Has this become an Animorphs episode? Yes, it has. Well, actually, there is a comic, X-Men 3. Her sexual frustration is so bad it drives her to try to get rid of her powers. That's how bad it is.
Wow.
So really no glove, no love. Now, some people have said there are mutants that she could hook up with. Like there's a mutant leech who's a Morlock who lives in the New York sewers. He temporarily negates the powers of other mutants, but the problem is he's like a developmentally challenged kid. So probably not okay.
He just has to be in the room. It's a proximity thing with him. So
yeah,
he's just watching.
But being in the room is probably enough for Chris Hansen to sit you down too.
Yeah. Eat a gambit in the wrong place.
Get you a glass of milk to go along with those cookies?
So, yeah.
You'd know.
Some have also said that she could hook up with Colossus if he's in his metal form.
I was wondering that too. But also, like, have you seen the way his metal form works? It's like a suit of armor. And I bet right on those lines, there's a lot of pinch points there.
It's Rogue. It's best to stay away, probably. But also, let's move on to the Thing, Ben Grimm. Ben Grimm does not have genitalia. It's just rocks down there.
Sure?
In fact, for sure.
2 rocks and a string of 7.5 rocks?
Just like Ken doll rocks.
Ken doll rocks! Lame Ken doll version.
His girlfriend Alicia dumps him and dates Johnny Storm. And when she hooks up with Johnny, she says it's the first time in ages that she got any action. Wow. So it implies, yeah, Ben Grimm doesn't have anything down there. So he don't.
Does he pee and poop?
That's a wonderful question. That should be
next week.
Big question.
Do Ben Grimm pee poo poo? I mean, he looks like poop. I've said it a million times. He looks like poop.
Let's move on to some people who it's been long debated whether or not. So they're like the maybe category. Superman. Okay, so Superman is the big question here. Even before Kevin Smith's Mallrats debate, there was a 1969 essay by Larry Niven called Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex, which I don't know if he meant Kleenex in that context then, but really he's saying because he's a Man of Steel, any woman that he sleeps with is going to tear apart like Kleenex.
Oh my God, like a cheap tissue that you sneeze through.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a terrible image.
So the essay is fascinating. It hypothesizes how Superman's Kryptonian sperm would just be too powerful. It would damage a woman's uterus. It's kind of what Kevin Smith was citing with the Mallrats debate.
I always thought, like, he bangs like a bullet to the brain, and then out the top of the head.
Back of victim's head blown outwards, consistent with a firearm discharge in her mouth.
The old lady across the hall said she heard someone yell, "Here comes a super load."
Yeah. There have been a number of comics showing Lois Lane, in a sexual relationship with Superman. They have kids. So it just depends on which comic writer is taking over that storyline. It's suggested that Superman has the ability to limit his intensity so that he doesn't kill the person he's sleeping with.
Yeah, that's true. He supposedly has precise control over every single cell of his body. So, for instance, you might remember that he can mimic other people's voices because he can control his vocal cords so precisely.
Yeah.
So I guess he can do these minute little movements. But I mean, he's not liking doing that. He wishes he could just whoosh.
I mean, he's Superman, so part of one of his super abilities is like that Tenacious D song, he can softly.
That's why it makes so much more sense in the New 52 when he gets with Wonder Woman.
That's right, and that's on to our next subject, Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman has Superman sex all the time. Yeah. She's a Greek goddess. She has like resistance, and they're evenly matched, and I think that's the key. So Diana can have sex just like Superman. She just has to restrain herself if she's having sex with someone who is not a god, basically. She can't really go full out.
I mean, you've seen The Boys.
Oh, I've seen The Boys. They just have to be careful. Like we're talking about Popclaw there, you know, where she uses her legs to crush her poor building manager's head.
Yeah. We have footage of us recreating this with a watermelon.
And people have also talked about that in terms of Jessica Jones. Like, she's sexually frustrated. She can't have sex with everybody, but she does hook up with Luke Cage in that season, and they destroy her bed.
Yeah, well, and when Buffy gets with, spoiler alert, Spike, they tear down a whole house when they do it.
Or like Bella and Edward in Breaking Dawn. They destroy that bed, too. Just give me a second.
You just destroy your bed.
Okay. Something's been obliterated down here. Okay, but now we got to talk about our boy Hulk. So, unlike our boy Ben Grimm, Hulk does have a dong. And what a dong. He gets naked in Incredible Hulk number 400, and his nemesis, the Leader, comments on how well endowed he is.
Wait, do they show it?
Of course they don't show it. It's a comic.
That was like the cover. Or it's like a unfolding page.
Also, in the MCU, Thor Ragnarok, Thor does see him naked, and I would say his reaction says it all. Like, that guy he's packing something.
That's in my brain now.
So here's the deal, though. When Banner/Hulk reaches a point of stasis in Hulk form, it's implied he's totally capable of having sex. In Thor Ragnarok, he spends 2.5 years on Sakaar solely in Hulk form. Right. He's a celebrity gladiator.
Right.
And then in Endgame, he reached the balance as Smart Hulk, and he's been in that state for about 3.5 years, and once again is a celebrity. And if you think Hulk didn't in either of those forms, you're crazy.
But what woman on Earth could take that?
It would have to be a woman not on Earth, right? So Hulk all the time in the comics. So the Ragnarok Sakaar storyline was based on the Planet Hulk storyline, where Hulk, as a celebrity gladiator, has sex with Kyra the Old Strong. She's an alien who's basically impervious to harm, and she takes it fine. There's also some comics where Bruce gets cured of his Hulk problem, and he's able to have sex with Betty when they get married, when he's like in human form.
Boring!
Yeah, no thanks. There's another time his pathology gets reversed, so he switches from peaceful Hulk to savage, puny human, and that he's able to have sex with savage Bruce to calm him down into peaceful Hulk. Ha. So I love that.
Yeah.
Now, there's some other really weird stuff that goes on, like Hulk comes under an erotic influence, like Eros tries to psychically seduce him with waves of pleasure as Hulk is rampaging through New York. Eros is super gross, and I hope we never see Eros in the MCU. There's going to be a lot of problems if that happens. There's also Hulk becomes Grey Hulk, and he's a Las Vegas enforcer.
Yeah,
and he has sex with a human aerobics instructor. Her name's Marlo Chandler, and in the comics it's real weird. She seems super smitten afterwards. Like, she hugs this lamp pole, and she's got this big smile, and she goes, "I'm fine."
I'm fine?
I'm fine.
Like she thought she was gonna die?
What are they implying? Or she's like, I guess I'm okay, but my takeaway from that, she's hugging the lamp pole. I don't think there was intercourse there. I think she might have done she's an aerobics instructor. She's flexible, you know, like.
I mean,
I don't want to spell it out.
See, I think, well, you should, because I'm completely confused with what you mean. I think you mean that her hugging the lamppost is what she did to his dong. She just like, she fireman pulled him.
Or yeah, she's like, you know, imagine
swinging all the way around his dong.
There's also like an Ultimate Wolverine vs. Hulk comic where Logan tracks down Banner to this mountain palace, and there's no women around, but then he swings open the doors, and Hulk is being lavished over by a harem.
I've seen this.
43 women in bikinis.
I've seen this for a variety of reasons when I was growing up.
It's a crazy image, and what did they do? How did they do it? I think it was a group effort, probably, right?
Oh, that makes sense, actually. Okay.
Does it make sense?
Well, hold on. I know I'm not a prude, and I'm not going to get into details because even though there should be no children watching this, I would have been watching this video happily if it were me and I was a kid. But I'm just going to acknowledge, because there's people in the comments probably acknowledging it, there are videos that exist of very talented women who could make anything happen. So thinking about
you're referring to live action videos. I was referring to a multitude of animated films you can find where suddenly the physics of the human body are contorted in all kinds of crazy ways.
Well, yeah, in animation, sure,
everything's
it makes
possible.
sense, yeah, but I just mean like in real life, turns out, you know, the human body also can do very insane things. I'm not saying from my own experience, that's not my kink, but it's nothing wrong with that one. So I'm sure
there's nothing wrong with any kink unless it's illegal, which this might be illegal.
Breaking a person,
murder.
Yeah, murder's illegal. Yeah,
last I checked. Okay, well, really, the most up version of Hulk having sex is in the Old Man Logan storyline, kind of the loose inspiration for the Logan film. Hulk is a slumlord in Sacramento. He has like this incestuous family clan that helps dominate these tenants. His wife, or his lover, is his cousin, She-Hulk.
Oh, God.
They're related, and they have kids, and they're all messed up. It's disgusting, but that's kind of the whole point of it. It's real gross.
The kids are all freaks?
Yeah, Hulk including
his own
family.
Cousin. So
he folks family.
Like, I don't want to call comic book writers pervy, but obviously the craziest hero to imagine having sex is Hulk. And apparently he's the one that they've been like, let's go to that well again and again and again.
We will make it work.
Yeah, like it's like we've covered this before. Not enough. We haven't thought, what about 42 women? What about an acrobat? You know, like,
what about his cousin?
Yeah, shut up, Merle. Ow.
Okay, so in summary, to answer your question, some superheroes cannot some can, but under the condition that they limit themselves by their intensity or they explore alternatives to straight up intercourse. But Hulk definitely do
Hulk. Him, my man Palpatine, though I know about the book that says he doesn't, but he still does. All right. I am as satisfied as they are.
Gross.
Wait, not literally. I mean, you can't see what's going on.
Satisfied.
Metaphorically satisfied.
Okay, well, shifting gears for a second here. Philip, I don't know about you. My entire life, including this conversation, has shifted completely online. It went from like being 75% online to 100% online. And these past days, I've been very aware of online security, and I want to make sure I can access all the streaming content that I want to get, and really everyone, no matter where they live, should have access to, shouldn't have to worry about it. Well, thank you to our friends at ExpressVPN for sponsoring this episode.
Hell yes. I've been using ExpressVPN because we always talk about how it protects your privacy and your security or whatever, but specifically a lot of people forget it's a VPN. That means you can watch shows and movies that you're not allowed to watch in your like region. And that specifically came up the other day. I pulled up a thing. I was trying to watch a very old episode of a TV show I could not find anywhere, and I went to go play it. Couldn't be played in my region. Logged in through ExpressVPN and I could.
Yeah, there's shows like Doctor Who, Rick and Morty. They're not available on the US Netflix, but are available on the UK Netflix. All these rules are crazy, and it's tied up with stupid like media company laws and what they have their restrictions and the access and the license to. But like that shouldn't limit you just because you want to watch it and you just happen to be living somewhere else. So really, it's simple with ExpressVPN. You just fire up the ExpressVPN app, you change your location, you refresh Netflix, Hulu, whatever you're using, and that's it.
Yeah, it does it on the IP level, so you can actually just pick like what, of 100 different countries or something, what country you just want to seem like you're streaming from.
There are hundreds of VPNs out there, but ExpressVPN is ridiculously fast. There's never any buffering or lag, and you can stream in HD without problems. ExpressVPN is also compatible with your devices, your phones, media console, smart TVs, and more. And you can watch what you want on a personal device or on the big screen wherever you are.
Yeah, so guys, please check it out via our special link. It's expressvpn.com/bigq. And there you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free.
Yeah, support the show, watch what you want, and protect yourself with ExpressVPN at expressvpn.com/bigq. All right, Philip, we're now going to move on to some bite-sized questions. Philip's going to answer these. Really, we just have one bite-sized, but it's going to be a big bite. Philip, what are the differences between Marvel's Thor and the Norse god Thor?
I've been wanting to get into this for quite a while because there's a bunch. So here's what's really fun about it. There's actually, though, not as many differences as there should be. Like, if you think about it, it's like, oh, Iron Man was written at a certain time, and Batman or Superman, I'm looking at my Batman figurine, Superman, whatever, these characters are all kind of relatively of the last 100 years or so. And then weirdly, they threw in this Norse god from like millennia ago, and they're like, yeah, let's keep most of it. It's like if Jesus was also a character in Marvel, and they were like, yeah, he's still like the son of God, kinda, or like they kept a lot of Thor's Norse origins. They just tweaked a couple of things.
I love that Jesus's power move is changing water into wine in the post-credits scene. We're keeping all of his mythology points in canon.
It's that Age of Ultron scene where they're all like via headset, like what they're doing. Hawkeye's like, I'm taking care of this. Jesus, what are you doing? I'm walking over the lake. Thanks.
Great.
Thanks so much. The rest of us can fly. Why is it that every week we get sacrilegious by the end of these? And specifically sacrilegious. Anyway, back to the whole point of this. Norse Thor versus MCU Thor. First up, appearance. They don't look the same. It's not like hugely different, but specifically, Eric, I'm so sorry, he's not a blonde beard. He's not even blonde haired.
What?
It's all red. He's a ginger. Ginger hair, ginger beard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They apparently, when they were designing the character for the MCU, they considered using red hair. And they were like, no, too creepy.
You know, that sounds like some bigotry toward gingers.
I'm a natural redhead. I can prove it, but I won't.
I'm good with that.
Up next, one of the biggest changes between the MCU and Norse mythology, which I can't believe I'm saying that sentence, is just the character of Loki. Like everything about Loki. Loki in the mythology is a much bigger deal, and he's a much badder deal.
It seems like a pretty big bad deal in the MCU.
Well, let me go through it. First of all, just talking about the relations there, he is not Thor's brother. He's actually Odin's stepbrother. So he's at a whole like level higher, like the Odin level of gods. I mean, you can understand why they changed that, because being a antagonist for Thor and their brothers is kind of interesting and more challenging than like, oh no, my step uncle. I mean, but my step uncle is kind of an asshole, so I would relate, but most people can't.
A brother, it's a more intimate rivalry.
Yeah, or if you're in that Hulk family on that farm, it's a very intimate relationship. All right, back to Loki differences, and just sticking with this different relationships thing and family relations, Loki has a lot of baby mamas out there. He has a lot of kids, and they're all bad, but they're all like also like weirder than just kids. Like first of all, he has this like trio of kids that he has with this giantess, a lovely large lady, and her,
nice.
I have her name, Angerboda, which is, I mean, a name that implies giantess, I would think. And they're terrible. But then he also has a kid that is a serpent named Jormungandr.
Yeah, I believe that's correct pronunciation.
Jorgi. And that's not that weird, right? Because he also has a wolf child named Fenrir.
That's right. Fenrir. So in Ragnarok,
Yeah, which is also his, you know, that's his child, but also inspired the character in Harry Potter.
Oh, Hagrid?
Yeah. But there's one very interesting kid, too, that he has. A daughter named Hela. Hela is
I know that one.
Loki's daughter, not
Interesting,
Odin's.
right?
And on top of that, if you're looking into the real Hela versus the real Hela that exists in our real world that you should not insult, she is kind of beautiful like Cate Blanchett. Half her side, half her face, half her body, and then the other half is literally dead.
Like Two-Face?
Yeah, kind of as hot as Two-Face is. It also makes me think that's what I was talking about with the Thanos half dead. And then also, Loki never gets redemption. That's what I'm saying, where he just is like badder. He just stays bad. In fact, in Norse mythology, in Ragnarok, he turns on all the other gods, including Thor, and he fights against them in Ragnarok. He's the one that actually leads the army of the dead against Asgard, not Hela in the actual Ragnarok.
Yeah, that sounds more Norse. Like, people don't have, like, redemption stories. It's mythology, you know? Like, people are bad, they're heroic, you know.
Yeah, they actually also, Thor and Loki both die in Ragnarok.
Everyone dies, right?
Yeah, so that's like a much more badass Norse version of it. And then speaking of Thor, really quick, just some quick changes to him. He can't fly the way he kind of, like, throws Mjolnir with some momentum, and then, like, that, you know, makes Thor fly. He has a chariot pulled by two just majestic goats. They're named Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder.
Those are great names.
Yeah, I mean, my firstborn is going to be named both of those things. The left half will be named one, and the dead half will be named Grinder. And then the really sad part about that is that he eats them when he gets hungry. And then the next day he resurrects them, but I think their memories are probably intact. They're just like, no, we're being tortured.
They remember everything.
And then we also know that he has a magic belt. They actually have referenced that in the MCU. Happy finds it and he tries to pronounce it and he can't, but just Thor's magic belt. But he also has magic gloves. And that's actually necessary for him to wield Mjolnir. They're very special and they're called Jargenbeer.
Could they fit that on the glove logo?
Yeah. And then finally, probably maybe the thing you'd probably guess the most easily, there's no Jane Foster in Norse mythology. There is a Natalie Portman though, weirdly. No, but you know who he gets with, and is actually kind of like a hot, awesome pairing, and it's kind of like the Superman to Wonder Woman. He gets with Lady Sif.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's pretty hot.
And he does kind of like, he's sort of into her in the Marvel world too. You know, she's just like his old fling, his kind of long-term buddy. So Thor f***s, but we knew that Thor f***s.
Yeah, I mean, constantly. Even Fat Thor.
Well, you know, this, I feel like Taika Waititi's got to make some of these changes for Thor Love and Thunder. This is a version of Thor and the Norse characters that I want to see in the MCU.
Which version? The one with gloves?
All of, yeah.
No glove, no love.
I want the goats. I want the Two-Face. I want Fenrir to come back, and I want him to have a bigger role.
Yay. You know what it's time for? The mailbox, question box, fan mail thing segment. We haven't named it appropriately, and I brought it with me.
You took it. Good for you.
We still have some in here, luckily, from before the apocalypse. And so this one I'm pulling is from... Oh, this is a very famous person. Wow. Can't believe they're a fan. Okay, crazy. All right. What is the furthest you've gotten by faking it till you make it?
Oh, well, that questioner has definitely faked it till they maked it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It really made it, too. Crazy.
Ooh, Philip and I have an interesting story. I don't know if you have another story. I have one that involves both of us when we faked it till we made it.
Am I going to be comfortable with this?
Yeah, it's the Dumbledore guy.
Oh, sure.
Story. So in college, Philip made this, it was actually a pretty good web series that our whole improv group all kind of helped make. And we were casting for a grouchy college professor character. So Philip put an ad on Craigslist and we got a response from this guy who was like 65, former cop with the Boston Police Department. And he now goes and he auditions for these things to play like a cop in these movies. This guy was terrifying. And Philip's like, all right, well, we need to like make it as legit as we can because this is just like a no budget college web series that we're doing. But Eric, you have to trick him into thinking that it's like a bigger deal production than it is. So
we don't want him to know we're even college students.
Right. Yeah. So we were trying to like look older than we were, look more professional than we were. And I had to keep this guy busy.
Oh my God, Eric, do I know this story? What did you do?
You said, fake it till you make it, boss.
Do anything.
I'm going to print out some sides for him. And you have to make him, if he asks any questions, just give him kind of a runaround. Don't tell him what it is. Make it sound like this is like a real TV show that we're producing in Gainesville, Florida on this college campus. So I had to talk to this guy and he kept asking what it was. And I said, well, it's It's a very big deal. We're in partnership with the Campus Residence Hall Association. It's going to have a market of the entire Gainesville area, and we just got our budget approved. And kept trying to like sound, and he was looking right through me. This guy's a former detective, so he's looking right through me, and you could tell that he's just like ready to snap my neck. He's like, "You brought me here to this classroom. This isn't even a real student union room that you said it was. It's just a classroom, and this we have a professor coming in here is telling us we aren't allowed to be in here. What are you really up to, kid?
And where's the body?"
Philip shows up like 40 minutes later from the computer lab with some printed out sides because we didn't have a script yet, and it was just like he went to IMDb quotes and printed out lines from Harry Potter. And these,
well, it was specifically the role,
the Goblet of Fire.
The role was for a professor type, and I had not seen or read any Harry Potter, and so I was like, "Isn't there a famous professor in there? I bet there's a lot of professory lines." So I was just like, Harry Potter professor quotes.
And he printed out the lines from Mad Eye Moody talking about the unforgivable curses, but you didn't want this guy to think that it was from Harry Potter. Because you wanted him to think it was like sides for our thing. I'm like,
and
dude, he's gonna
like a
recognize you gotta change all
serious
the
thing,
names.
a serious like dramatic piece.
So Philip went through all the character names in this IMDb quotes and changed them to just random names, but forgot to go in the line itself and change the line. So it's like Professor Stevens says, and he's reading the line, and this guy goes, "So I'm supposed to teach you the unforgivable curses." Talking about curses, and he goes, "Dumbledore wanted me to tell you what these curses were all about, so you better prepared. Hey, Miss Granger, you know what the curses are?" And then he lowers the script and he looks at me and he goes, "Is this from Harry Potter?"
He shot you dead on the spot.
And he killed me, and I'm a ghost.
If you ever hear Eric and I say Dumbledore, like Dumbledore, it's just Dumbledore, like just the weirdest.
Dumbledore wanted me to tell you these curses.
Just his Boston cop accent or whatever it was, just saying Dumbledore.
One of these days, I want to walk up to your door, you Dumbledore, yeah, and see you not there. So you know that you went on to move on to a better life. He did not get the part.
Yeah, we didn't cast him because we were scared of him.
No, not interested.
Real quick, I'll say that I couldn't think of one until you reminded me that we did a lot of posting on Craigslist at that time. Because I just remembered that we all lived in a house. You lived there for a stretch too, but yeah. But I think you didn't live there yet. You were just like one of the frequent visitors. But it was like 10 people living in the same house, all from our comedy group. And we were ending college and talking about all the crazy stuff that we wanted to do and how we still like wanted to be crazy. And then somebody, I don't think it was me, I don't think it was you, but somebody in our group was like, yeah, like, you know, we should have had an orgy by now, which by the way, only happens in porn. That's not like a college trope. Like, and then you have your college orgy, you know, like part of your conversation with your parents when you're moving up to Gainesville. But it was said as if like, yeah, we should have had an orgy by now. And so this part was me because I am very much an instigator. I was like, well, let's have one. We'll have one. Is Tuesday good for everyone? And so everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. And we were all like hyping each other up, and I'm sure we were drunk as hell. And
I was not in the room for this conversation. I heard about it later, but I was not there for this.
You attended the eventual event. I'm pretty sure actually though.
I did. Oh yes, I participated in that part.
So I just decided like the only thing we knew at the time of like how to like get to sex was they used to have the casual encounters section on Craigslist, which was just like you just want to hook up. And so we all sat there around the computer and wrote up this ad of like, hey, we're a bunch of young college comedians and we're looking to have an orgy. Are you interested? We have a house. We thought that was cool. And then like what we were looking for in the women, which like is super not who's on that looking. But anyway, and then at the end we're like, oh, we got to include a picture. So we were like, well, we need a picture of like with all 10 of us. So literally posted a picture of us like performing on stage, like just from one of our stupid cheesy college comedy shows. And that's the
Wait,
picture.
wasn't it a picture of our ride at Disney World?
Maybe also, we definitely posted more than one picture. You did just remind me. Because we wanted to show like, you know, we perform on stage, we're cool, even though it's like so nerdy and we're wearing matching shirts. But then, and all have like little bird bodies. But then, yeah, and then maybe us going to Disney World, I think was in there. Which you're definitely in both those pictures. And
yes.
Then we posted it, and then we were like, kind of, yeah, cool. And then we said, oh, we're throwing a party this Friday, and that's where we want the orgy to happen. And then everyone else kind of like forgot about it. But I had it set up to like send to an email. So I start getting all of these requests, and I get them like almost immediately of people and like women, and they're sending their pictures of just that want to do this orgy. They love this idea of 10 college guys or whatever. So, which crazy. And then, so we're still in the heat of it, or still like not so far later that I do respond with like, okay, the party's this night and here's our address. And then but a full day passes and I even start to kind of forget about it. But then eventually I kind of open this email and I see a lot of replies start coming in and are like confirming that they're attending. And I stopped responding to any of this. And, but it doesn't stop rolling in. And then that party happens. No one remembers this orgy thing at this point. I don't bring it up to anyone because I don't want everyone to know that, like, guys, these people are coming here to our party. So I just stay quiet about it. And we had that big house. So this party was huge. There were a ton of strangers at this party. And there were a lot of closed doors of different rooms. I have no idea what ended up happening, but I 100%, I think I spent like the night talking to you about like some stupid sketch show we wanted to do or something. I very much just like that, like picked a certain moment to be like, and no longer gonna fake the ability to like have the nerve to go through with this. What a pussy.
Yes, I don't know everyone who was at that party, which was rare because most of our parties was just the same 30 or 40 people who we knew and didn't know anyone outside of that friend group. So it was weird to see strange faces.
And strange everything. Strange holes.
But you know what's terrifying is like most of the people who were responding to that were probably dudes. There were probably dudes in their 40s and 50s who were catfishing us and just going to show up to this party and see what happened.
Yeah, actually, right? They're probably like, oh, there's going to be girls there probably. I can just sneak in to the gangbang.
No one's taken role in a file.
What'd you say? What the fuck did you just say? What the did you just say?
I get every name when I have an orgy. People wear name tags. That's it. Just name tags.
Dumbledore.
Because you gotta know the name. Dumbledore.
He was there. 100%. He said all is forgiven. Guys, speaking of never seeing each other again, thanks so much for watching this last episode of Big Question. Every episode is the last.
Like every episode is our last question. And a reminder that you can join us on Discord and ask us questions there. A lot of the Discord questions end up inspiring episodes of the show. And you can join Discord by becoming a patron of New Rockstars at patreon.com/newrockstars. And a reminder that you can get audio versions of the show by subscribing to New Rockstars Big Question wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me at EA Voss everywhere. You can follow Philip at Philip Molina. And a reminder to send us your questions everywhere that you can reach out to us in the comments of this video using the hashtag BigQuestion on social media. You can also mail us at our P.O. Box.
Which you don't know, you don't have memorized.
No, I'll never remember.
Guys, thank you so much. Remember to share the show with a friend if you like it.
And if you don't like it, shut your damn mouth. Hey, we're still figuring out. Let us know if you have any other ideas of ways that we can talk to each other, keep these shows coming out. Because we aren't slowing down. No pandemic can slow us down.
All right, and then feel free to respond to our email if you're interested in our orgy. New Rockstars Orgy, hashtag big...
Take down that post!
No, it's still rolling in millions of responses over time. It's how the virus spreads.
Yeah.
Too soon?
It is.
All right, guys. Have a good one.